everything's going to I had sound on the intro there, Danny.
That's right. You're our backups. Just remember.
Goddamn Jaggerman.
It's rumored that
I've heard stories about that guy, Jaggerman.
That's right. You're our backups.
and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's kind of odd that JRT would leave Circuit City and we would have technical problems the next day. Somebody might have hacked our shit.
Oh, good catch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold with us, people. Hold with us. Working out the bugs.
That's yeah. I don't think they can hear you, right? So this is.
If you see mouse moving and you don't hear, hit up the chat. Let us know.
Can you hear me? If you experience
it sounds like our voices are fine, Danny. It's just we can't hear you.
Well, try that. It's gonna not. But I hear somebody in the background needs to turn down their feed. Mute it, please.
That was me because I was testing for us. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, it's kind of odd that it's not going through. Don't know what the problem is again now. This is great, man. I love stuff like this. It's a fan favorite of problems like this on day of the launch.
No matter how many times you practice.
Yeah, no matter. Yep. So this has just turned into one big practice session at this point in time. And I don't know why the settings have changed inside of OBS that are great, guys. I really don't.
Have faith. We will get it figured out.
Well, in the meantime, since they can't hear me, they can hear the three of y'all. So fucking take it, Coco. Let's talk about the league and what the concept is. Go.
So the concept of this whole thing is that we wanted to put together a loosely combined show, something that gave you league news, something that gave you maybe some iRacing news, race reviews, looking at the previous race in the Cup Series,
A little bit of comedy.
a lot of comedy. Um, and I think,
Well, we've proven that starting out. That's
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely have had calamity, right?
maybe 10 a.m. Maybe the show during a coffee moment was not the time to do it.
But yeah, so Ed came to me about 6 to 8 months ago and said he wanted to do something like this. So I'm going to hand it over to Ed and kind of give his idea of how the show should be and what we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, thanks. Yeah, just little brainchild. I like seeing people's faces, get the personalities of the league out there. I think it was that little thing we were missing to help take KCE over the top, because one thing we are not lacking on is personalities. Driving skills, debatable, but one thing we are not lacking on is personalities. And I understand, guys, we do know that you're having technical problems hearing Danny. That's not on purpose, I promise. But we are working through that scenario as we speak. So yeah, here we are. KCE, this is going to be a relaxed environment where we're going to shoot the shit, talk about the races coming up, the races we just did, focusing on the Cup Series. We're going to bring drivers in. So you guys, we're going to bring on in and pick your brains. It should be a good time.
Absolutely, I think it's going to be great. And then we got Gilly Man there sitting rounding out our fourth. Gilly's gonna be the the anchor of the group.
I'll provide some commentary and hopefully some humor and some old dude insight into my perspective on racing in NASCAR, which is definitely probably somewhat different than some people's.
Well, Danny's over there saying a lot, and I'm not sure how much he's saying, but the thing with Gilly Man, and I don't know if you guys know this, but he's a hell of a statistician. And he has really, really odd stories to tell you, as far as why a racetrack was built one way and not another, why the racetrack has this little dog leg in it, and how many people actually sat in the seat 36 at row 7. He knows that shit, and it definitely goes crazy. So we're going to go with that. We do have agendas for these things, and right now, we're basically going over the concept of the show. I think we'll go ahead, Ed, and we're going to go ahead and bring up our next topic. Start the show, actually, our Daytona 24 race review, kind of what we think, what happened.
Yeah, so big weekend that went by. Kickoff of the 2023 season with the Daytona 24. KCE, it runs its own division, and Coco will definitely tell us about that. And I run a separate division with the Inglorious Bastards, which is kind of like a sister team of KCE. But we'll go ahead and have Coco explain how your 24 went. I think you had 12 drivers involved?
I think it was 13 drivers actually in the end. 13 drivers.
Wow.
And we had 13 drivers, 2 teams. We had 7 and 6, I believe it was. And yeah, we had our trials and tribulations. Our team won. Let me start with the team that I was leading. I came out and within the first hour got hit in the rear, and then got
Never
spun
fun.
out and had
Not in
some
a good
damage
way.
I needed to repair. But it worked out. The team came back, rallied back from being 41st, came back and finished 10th, I believe it was. Just a hell of a group. I mean, the times, were not what we were after, but everybody was real consistent. Everybody was doing their part, and did a great thing. We did have some trials and tribulations. One of the things that occurred was, one of our drivers got in, and it was funny because everything was fine. Jumps into the car just like a Daytona style, Ed. You'll know it. Gets in the car and loses internet after half a lap.
Not to cut you off, but there was something really goofy that happened during that race. And
Okay.
you guys were on the Saturday race. We
Yeah.
did the Friday race. At I don't know what time it was. You lose track of time during these things. Sometime during the middle of the night, Joey was in our car, and he was coming to his pit, and he started yelling, "I think I need one of you guys
take the car because my force feedback just went to shit. It kicked out my profile. And we were like, whoa, that was strange. And then I didn't catch it either till I got back in my car a stint later. And all of my programs, third party programs, like, what's running my digital display, this and that, it lost everything. And so we got feedback that there was some kind of just iRacing puked itself in the middle of the night and caused major issues.
Oh,
Not enough to kick you out of the race, but it caused like third party issues. It was really weird.
yeah. It not to not to extend, but we put a driver in who jumped in, did a couple laps. When the guy came back, jumped in the car, lost it again. Ed,
Huh.
it's crazy. But that's what I'm saying. So to come back from 41st with that kind of issues and things like that,
Fantastic.
to 10th, come on. I mean, you just can't ask for a better team than that. Now, let's talk about Team Two. Team Two is, they went in and they were clean all the way through. I don't know if they had damage while I was sleeping or not, but they ended up going through and just beating it to death. I think they ended up finishing third place.
P3.
P3, yeah. With, I'm telling you, just a stellar team run.
And you guys had an all GT3 field.
Yeah, we were all GT3. And they came
They
out
did.
each year, and we found out, and this is the big thing, Ed, that I kind of want to stem into with this discussion of this. We found out as we were racing, Team 3 was actually the winner of that series, of that race, Daytona 24 this year. And I'll say that tongue in cheek, but, because here's what happened. The first team that finished first was their car was painted and it said Smurf. They were Team Smurf. They had I ratings way above, 3,000
Right.
2 weeks before Daytona. They tanked it to 900 and 800 before the race.
That I don't understand the mentality of that. To just go in and you're not racing peer to peer at that point in time. You're just not. You're trying to put yourself ahead of everybody else in a very deceivious type of way, and that is not what racing about is, in my opinion. I can't stand seeing that.
Yeah, it's a terrible way to win a race. And what the thing is everybody came on the live channel, iRacing's channel, and was calling them out on it. They were doing the research during the last 10 laps of that race. They were doing the research on that team and basically telling them, why did you even do this? Like, why, what fun was it for you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like teenagers walking onto a playground of middle schoolers and harassing them. It's like,
Does that make you feel good?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they beat our team by 6 laps, and the it was ridiculous to cheat. People cheat. People cheat at everything. They'll cheat, but
yeah,
to cheat on it, it's a game. My God, there was no money on the line. And this takes me to I was following there's some scandal about the top split in iRacing where there was cheating
Team
in the
Williams.
top split. And I'm sure Danny Vaughn and Ed Adams, they know a lot more about this than I would. But my goodness, man, we do this for fun. Okay. We're very serious about it. We do it at a high level. Some of us spend a lot of money and everybody spends a lot of time. But to cheat at it is just, it's anathema to me. I can't understand it.
I think I'm going to ask Ed, are you familiar with the Team Williams issues going on right now?
The one I'm referring to.
Yeah, I'm pretty aware. I think majority of the racing community is aware of what was going on in that event. A lot of blocking, just a lot of nefarious teamwork stuff going on. And you're right. I mean, there's ways of competing in any event. You can do it the right way and put your talents up for show, or you're going to try to find every little loophole, every way to take an advantage. And it's perspective, right? I mean, Williams is going to come across and be like, what? There's no rule saying that we specifically could not do that. We took advantage of the situation. Their team car was blocking the shit out of the competition coming, so the teammate could stay ahead. Okay, I don't think there's anything in the rule book, per se or in contact that says you cannot do that. Do we all frown upon it? I think everybody but the Williams, maybe even the Williams drivers were frowning upon what they were doing, but they were doing what they were told to do. It's not a good it's not good no matter how you look at it, in my opinion. It's behind us, but it's something that unfortunately I think we're going to have to deal with no matter what in these big events. Somebody's going to try to do some stupid shit.
Well, to add on to
Well,
that, Ed, part of the Williams thing, I followed a little bit of it, and I thought it was interesting. And let me say this as we're continuing: we have connection issues now to Restream, so it's choppy, it's stuttery, stream stopping out there, but they can hear us all. So, not on my end. I just did a check, and I'm over 500 um, down and over 20 up. So I assume it's just the direct to restream for me. So we'll have to work on that, Coco, and figure out what it is. But Williams, the interesting thing was this: when there was a video on YouTube that came out, they were talking about the actions that the group was doing, what was going on, how the second team out there was helping them in tow, et cetera, really pointed out to what the problems were as far as the nefarious, we'll call it, racing tactics. And initially, the response from the drivers of that team was like, hey, it's legal inside of the sim. And we have sponsors and we have we have to make all efforts to do and place as high as possible or win for our sponsors. And if we don't do it, it will be done to us. That was their initial blast out there. And what was interesting was there was one Williams representative who basically on Twitter said, yep, we're good with that. We completely understand it and we don't have a problem with it. And then the more backlash came out, and that's when you got the Williams statement, which official statement, which I think was released yesterday in regard to the matter.
I mean, yeah, you feel like you're in the right if you're within the rules, and until the old, the crowd comes in and starts hammering on you.
Okay, but let me put this out there, guys, and I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. I understand it's within the sim rules, so there's no penalty given, no black flag. iRacing can't catch it or doesn't catch it. What does that say about your not racecraft, but your
Sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship, yeah.
What does that say about that?
Oh, it speaks volumes.
Yeah. So it might not be against the rules, but the sportsmanship is just
well, like Danny just said, sponsors, right? They are obligated to their sponsors, and when you start bringing money into everything, it starts changing how things are approached. It becomes less of a, hey, I'm racing and competing with my buddies, and we're gonna do this on the up and up, to no, there's a line in that rule book that I can use to take an advantage over you, and that's what's expected of me to do so.
okay. But one of the things you guys didn't bring up that I want to bring up is the way they qualified to be first, 2/10 ahead of second place
On the apron the whole way around.
on the apron all the way around.
Yep.
Now, iRacing, if for some reason they would do something about that, let's say, and I was thinking out loud to myself, possibly putting a speed maximum on there. If you're doing over 130 mile an hour on the apron, then it throws you a black flag after 3 seconds or whatever. If they do something like that, that's going to hinder us leagues guys. That's going to hinder different things like that. But they're looking at what they can do to fix this issue when it's about sportsmanship, guys. It really is.
Yeah, ultimately that's what it comes down to.
I'm curious why they don't, and you guys would know better than me. I'm curious why iRacing doesn't just make it an off track.
Well, the reason why, Gilly, the reason why they can't now during qualifying, I don't understand why they can't, but during the race they can't because they want to offer the car who is trying to maybe limp to the pits off the racing surface to get to the pits. So I get that perspective.
Right.
But Coco brings a great point up when it comes to because you've got different levels of qualification, that go to, from, lenient to severe. There's categories. It seems like they could have put something in the code there during a qualifying lap.
Right.
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's still, I know you're saying sponsors, and we have to do what we got to do to win. Whenever there's money on the line, but all in all, I think it looks bad on the sponsors. I think it looks bad on the team, and I think it looks bad for our community.
Exactly. If you were one of their main sponsors, I'm sure you might have a completely different perspective on this thing. Once social media comes out and says, no, nobody liked that shit.
Right?
Well, I think it's important to point out that there's a difference. Okay, I don't think endurance racers. You can't say that if you got more than one car in that race, and your car, one of your cars is competing with another car, their opponent gets up behind your car. Your guy's not going to just move out of the way. He's good. Okay, here, hold on. What they did that was wrong, what was egregious, was the fact that they held their car on pit road to wait for those cars to come, for him to get in front of that guy. He didn't just come out where he came out. He waited like 5 minutes at the end of pit road so that he could block. That's their crime. Had he just pitted, come out on the racetrack, that dude ends up behind you, go ahead and hold him up some. Make it a little bit wide. I'm letting Ed Adams get away. Hell yeah, I am. Ed's my teammate. But you sit on the end of pit road and come out to do it.
Yeah.
No. Now we got a problem.
And you know what? I want to give a high five to the drivers who were dealing with that in that race. Albeit the driver who was getting blocked, who was being blocked, because that driver could have easily lost their cool and like, you know what? I'm done with you, and just punted the son of a bitch right off the track.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
But you didn't see that happen. So good thing is there was much more professionalism going on in that race for the little bit that wasn't.
Right. Well, and the thing I want to just hit on with what Gilly said is, yes, it's the thing about racing a guy, because this is going to come up in our shows. This is definitely going to come up in our show as well, future shows. Racing a guy when you are 10 laps, 15 laps down in a Daytona 24. You're 15 laps down and you're racing number 2.
Should be.
Come on. Shouldn't be racing. Let him go.
But we've